Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Hey, what's up Transformers fans? Welcome back to another episode of Transformers Time Warp. I'm Mike, and today we've got a review of a Dinobot, courtesy of MixelPix subscriber Nicholas Stein, who, after seeing my video on the unboxing of this guy, just the reveal of this guy from the actual shipping package, reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to know if I had the same problem with my copy of Gigasuar Swoop as he did with his. We both have the blue version, and his had a problem with the head snapping into place in Dinobot mode, which led to chipping of the paint around the robot mode's head. So we're gonna see if I run into that same problem. So this is Gigasuar's version of Swoop in blue and in chrome. They have another version in red, and they have another finish in metallic, I think they call it. When I was thinking about the Dinobots that I wanted to have in my collection, I remembered back to the G1 toys, and I remember just being really impressed with all the bling. So I wanted my Dinobots to look like that. Gigapower, the company which puts out the Gigasuars, has recently put out weathered versions of a couple of their characters, I believe. I'm not sure if it's been the whole line yet, but at least a couple of their characters are out there with a weathered version. So if you like what you see here and you can't find the chrome version, but you don't mind a metallic weathered version, then you might be able to get your hands on one of those. All right, so this is a third-party toy, not an official Dinobot, and its official name is Gaudenter, HQ05R Blue, and it's an MP scale version of Swoop. Just to give you an idea of the size of this box, if you got an idea of the size of my TV, which I use as a background here in the Omega Supreme video, then you might have an idea of how big this box is. But let's just bring in our MP scale standards. MP10 Optimus Prime and MP21 Bumblebee. Let me just put these side by side with Swoop so you get a better idea. Okay, so as you can see, this is a big bot. And from what I've read online, the Gigasuar Dinobots are actually larger than Fans Toys Dinobots even. I chose to go with the Gigasuar Dinobots for a couple of reasons. The Fans Toys versions, while they look really cool, tend to go for a lot of money aftermarket. So I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to get the entire lineup of them for a decent price. And then after I decided on Gigasuar, I found out that they were actually larger than the Fans Toys Dinobots. So that's a kind of a cool bonus. But hey, I'm not here to tell you which one's better as far as what you like for your collection. I'm just here to tell you what my thought process is on the bots that I choose. So let's take a look at the box. So my impressions off the bat are that it's got some really good photography. It's got some really cool graphic design. They give it a lot of personality. They even have G1 style and master scale there. Now when you spin the box, if you don't drop it, it looks like the side panels are kind of like faded, like sun faded, but they're just printed with fewer colors, I guess, at least on the main image. So it looks kind of weird when you first see it, but under good light, it's obviously not faded. The back with some more good photography. The other side showing his Dinobot mode. Bottom of the box with a bunch of, warnings, cautions, stuff like that. And whoever this person is, Spike Art, I would like to see other stuff that they've done. Cool designs. And the top. Very cool branding, very good looking box. The only things that I could really ask for in the box art quality, it would have been nice to have some kind of glossy print for the character on the front. Kind of that matte versus shiny like Takara Tomy does. And to have full color prints on the side panels, that would have been really nice. Overall, it has a matte look to it because there really is no gloss. Just a little bit of backstory for Swoop. His first appearance was in the G1 episode War of the Dinobots. This was the episode in which Optimus Prime commissioned both Swoop and Snarl after the success of the first 3 Dinobots.
I'm pleased with the Dinobots, Spike. I think I'll have Wheeljack and Ratchet build 2 more.
Wow. Can Chip and I help out? It's hard to believe I'm actually taking part in the Dino Design Project. Stegosaurus is a great model for the first Dinobot, but for the second, how about giving the Autobots a little extra flying power? A Pteranodon.
Excellent choices, Chip. We'll start building them right away.
Wheeljack calling Optimus Prime. Please come to my lab and bring Trailbreaker and Chip fast.
And now, we'd like our new Dinobots to introduce themselves. I am Snarl. Call me Swoop.
New Dinobots,
Transform.
Snarl reaches maximum strength when drawing power from the sun. The test is over.
I hadn't noticed this before, but there doesn't appear to be any tape. Just a tab. Ooh. Why were these not on the sides of the box? Okay, I'm gonna tip it out, I guess upside down. All right, so it looks like we have a plastic cover on either side of the styrofoam. So I think we're gonna have to flip this over to see more of what's inside the box. Some kind of shiny sticker here for some reason. It's not in a resealable pouch, so you're gonna have to slice it open. Nice brochure. Got a nice black and white photo here. And that'd be worth printing and maybe hanging up as a poster. And then we've got our instruction side. Nothing super fancy, but nicely done. So before we get into the package, I thought it was odd that I saw a couple of little green flakes. And I think they're inside the plastic. Maybe not. Oh. My thumb's catching on something. So how does like some green vegetation looking stuff get inside a manufactured box like this? I don't know why this stuff impresses me so much, but it's a nice molded lid to keep things in place while it travels. So that's pretty cool. And this stuff, this green stuff, has been in here for a long while, so I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, I don't know what that is. Let's see if I can get a good look at it. Well, it's kind of crumbly, a little bit. It doesn't seem to be vegetation. It's just, I guess, some remnants of paint or something from manufacturing. All right, so what do we want to see first? It looks like we got a couple of, I don't know, we got a head and a beak, it looks like. There we go. And look at this shine on this painted plastic. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. I mean, it looks good on camera, but to my eye, it's even better. Believe it or not. Very, very cool. And whoa, how cool is that? That is so awesome. And his mouth opens too, I guess? It looks like there's a hinge here. So, not sure how that's supposed to work, but I don't want to force it at the moment, so... Oh, there we go. There's something. Okay. And he's got a gun inside. We'll get to that later. But there is a gun there. Very nice. And this guy comes with a platform that you can display him on. And this thing is detailed really nicely. Some really cool metallic piping going on there. Ooh, and I didn't see that till just now. Were you quicker than I was? Is that the Autobot symbol or what? And we got some, I guess, stand accessories that we're probably going to need to put in place. All will be known in time, I guess. Uh-oh. Oh no. This is a job for a tool. All right, some kind of connector with a hinge. And I guess last but not least, all right, wow. That is one beefy stand. And look at these paint accents. This is just painted like crazy. Oh my gosh. Third-party company, and look at the quality of this stuff. All that translucent plastic, these beautiful paint accents. Whew. Really nice. And what? Loose hinge? No, it doesn't want to come out, so I guess it's okay. All right, let's flip it. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? They take so much pride. Look, they even have their sticker up there. The Gigapower shark. Nice. Look at all that detail and all that shiny paint. All right, very cool. More nice molded plastic. All right, what are these yellow things on the side? Oh, yeah, this is something for the base display, I think. But look at that. Very, very nicely done. Extremely well painted. Look at the metal paint there right up against the red. That is beautiful. I guess if you're up for kit bashing of some sort, this would also be something useful for maybe an Aliens diorama. Oh, the display comes with lights, and it actually looks like this is a real LED light in here, or small bulb at least. That is so cool. All right, yeah, you can turn this on and off. Apparently no batteries, but there's the battery compartment. Haha, spotlights. That is way cool. And I don't know what this is, but it's a nice big hunk of metallic plastic here. Really nice. Oh my gosh. The detail on these guys is amazing. So far anyway. The only one I've seen is Swoop so far, so I guess I can't make that judgment call yet. Really, really nice though. I can see why Nicholas was saying that even though he had the problem with the head, it's still a very good figure. I mean, this thing is shaping up really well. It's two missile launchers. If I remember correctly, I think this, on the original G1 version, was actually a spring-loaded launcher. And you could press this and it would launch the missile, if memory serves. I didn't have Swoop, so I must be remembering a neighbor or a friend's Swoop. Sword number 1, and it lights up too. Uh-oh. Yeah, for a second I didn't think the button was going to come back out. But yeah, where do you put the battery in? All right, double blazing swords. How cool is that? I'm a little nervous. Oh my goodness. So he comes with an alternate head and beak if you want. So you can use that translucent one instead of this full gold one. You can give him the angry face too. Okay, so they chopped him off at the knees. That's cool. And we're gonna have to do some transformation to get him into bot mode. Oh no, something just fell off in my hand. Hopefully that's nothing serious. Looks like I'm gonna need a spot of glue. Came off right here at his thigh. And doesn't look like it's broken, it just lost its glue. All right, well, there you go. That's one thing to fix. All right, alt mode. First and foremost, I'm just gonna let you guys in on the fact that I'm feeling a little bit disappointed in this character because I've been really looking forward to reviewing this line of toys, and I was going to wait until I've had the final one. I'm waiting on Snarl, and I had built it up too much in my mind, I guess, so it's a little bit of a letdown. It doesn't feel as high quality as I imagined it would. You know, I think I built it up too much. I think he looks pretty darn good here in his alt mode as a pterodactyl. His neck is a little bit loose, so it was a little bit tricky to pose. That is one of the unfortunate things about him in his alt mode. In Bobby Skullface's review video of Swoop, he showed the transformation to pterodactyl mode, and he pointed out that there are a couple of clips or slotting kind of pieces on the shoulders that are supposed to come loose so that you can transform this guy properly. I don't know if that has anything to do with the loose neck. Maybe if I had done those things, the neck wouldn't be as loose or loose at all. But I did not get those clips up. Bobby Skullface said that he didn't get those clips loose either for his transformation, and yet it transformed seemingly fine. As he said, I hope I didn't break anything. So as you can see, you can get the pterodactyl into a nice pose. I'm wondering how many real varied poses you can get with this guy. I mean, obviously you can put him into the flying mode as is shown here in the animation model. I think you'll see that he's really, really close to the animation model, so you can't really fault it there. And you can attach a stand attachment to him so that you can put him on the display stand in a flying position if you'd like. One thing that I don't particularly care for is that his arms are still so visible. You know, they look like they're supposed to be something, but you don't know exactly what they're supposed to be, so you obviously assume that they're just the arms being tucked away. So his sides as a pterodactyl, I think, leave something to be desired. All right, so he's a little bit fiddly to pose, but it's just beautiful the way it catches the light. He has a really great presence, and I love all the detail. The detail is great. I don't know how much more I could ask for from a Dinobot in a masterpiece scale. So there are only a few other things about this toy that I'm not completely happy with. So first being that the paint quality. There's a chip here, and I don't know if that was like that out of the box or if it happened during the transformation. And get his beak out of the way, see if you can see that. There's a little spot right there. A couple more paint related things. On his collarbone here, he's got kind of a scrape. Not sure what that's from. And on the other collarbone, he's got an even worse scrape right here. And I don't know what that's from. So transformation maybe, but regardless, the paint isn't super durable, I guess. And that cannon came out too. These cannons sit in there well enough, but they're not fully secured in there either. Doesn't bother me too much. A couple of other things that were, oh yeah, might as well mention at this point, that he is front heavy and back heavy. See what I mean? So there are really only a few other things that bother me about this guy in pterodactyl mode. The neck is very mechanical. They didn't really flesh that out much at all. I feel like that could have been done a little bit nicer to make it a little bit more organic seeming, but it does its job, so that's not too bad. Another thing was that the wing details here are really cool and numerous, but it seems like the silver paint or plating that they use kind of gums it up a little bit, so the details aren't as fine. But I guess you're going to get that if you have to do this kind of treatment to give it this kind of shine. Aside from that, they do things like add little paint accents right here, you know, where they didn't necessarily need to, but it really makes things even that much nicer. So here they did the wire detailing on the wing there with some paint, and that's looking pretty cool. So overall, it's a good alt mode, and I am pretty happy with it, despite some of its inconsistencies or foibles. So the thing that Instagram Mixelpix subscriber Nicholas Stein had a problem with was he had a hard time getting the beak to actually fit into the head, and I didn't have much trouble with that. I did see that there is a little bit of a paint chip here at the front of the helmet, where that little nub from the beak goes in to secure the beak to the head. And I don't know if it was like this straight out of the box. I think I did it when I actually put the beak on the head, but there is that little bit of a paint chip. So overall, it didn't really cause much paint chipping for me. And one thing that I think I like to try to do is kind of pull the beak forward while I'm pushing down on the head, so that I push the helmet away from the peg as I separate it. And hopefully that will minimize some of this chipping. But I didn't really see any other chipping around the mask per se. There might be a little bit of a chip here, right on that corner, right here. But, you know, it's very hard to see, and maybe it's more just a trick of the light. But those minor things aside, maybe I can fix that with some paint, and it doesn't change the overall beauty of this character to me. From the shelf, it's going to look amazing. So that being said, it comes with a separate beak and alternate face. I do like the fact that they give you the alternate head, so you can do the toy style beak instead of the animation style beak if you want. I'm more of an animation style guy when it comes to styling, but when it comes to detail, I really like it to be more than just cartoon. So this is cool with me, and I think it can give it a nice, cool look. I was very impressed with Dinobots when I was a kid, though I never actually had one myself. So it's definitely a little bit of nostalgia, and it's pretty cool. One thing I'm not sure about the alternate head, though, is that you've got this peg here, and it looks like you can just, they gave you another neck. So I don't know if they're intending the beak to live on another neck, like permanently. If they are, that means that you've got to take the alternate head off this ball joint anytime you want to swap it to the other beak. And it was not the easiest thing to get this ball joint into this head. So not the easiest of swaps, as far as I'm concerned. I haven't tried swapping it yet, but we'll see what happens. So Nicholas, I hope that helped. I'm sorry you got chipping on yours. Hopefully it was not much worse than the chipping on mine. Maybe some Tamiya paint. I've run across that on the web as far as being a paint that maybe you can use to customize things, some Transformer stuff. So maybe you can look that up. And if you do look that up and it works for you, let us know in the comments or hit me up on Instagram. Hang on a second, Nicholas. I just saw, as I was preparing for the next shot, that there is paint chipping on the helmet now. It's very minor, might be hard to see here, but I do have some chipping right here at the top, and similarly on the other side. This side is a little bit harder to see, but maybe you can see it there. Minor, but it might do with a coat of paint. So I guess chipping will probably be a thing with this guy. There were some other disappointments. You know, these wings, it's just friction, and this one's tighter than this one, I think. So maybe that can be tightened up. But there's no ratchets in there. Ankle tilt is good. You can get him to, you know, sit up. He's got movable claws, which is cool too. Oh, that one's kind of binding. These ones move better than this far one over here. Not sure what's up with that. So they do move. So that's a nice touch. One thing you want to make sure you have out are these heel spurs, because without these heel spurs, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get him to stand up correctly. And as you can see, I did lose the other shin guard. So now we have 2 shin guards that are loose that can be put back in with some glue. Let's get him into bot mode. He looks awesome. I can't deny that. He does have some good weight to him. Now in alt mode, he was really hard to pose for the spinning shot. So I don't know how much posability he's gonna really have, but he does strike an interesting pose. Before we get into the actual ins and outs of bot mode here, I do want to point something out that Bobby Skullface pointed out in his video review of Swoop here, and that is that these little braces at the top, there's these two little lines. They're supposed to pop up, I think, at an angle like triangularly, and they're supposed to be part of the transformation process. Like he found out, I found that I didn't need to use those. So I hope I wasn't ruining anything on the toy, but I did not pull these up at all. And they seem to be pretty difficult to pull up too. So I don't know what I'd do aside from use a pair of needle nose pliers to try to pull those out. But like I said, it didn't seem to get in the way of the transformation. So that's a little bit strange. Now about him in bot mode, he was also a little difficult to get into a nice looking position for the spin shot. The main issue being that he is a little back heavy. So if you see here, he is pitched forward a little bit. And that seems to be probably what I'm gonna need to do. And he doesn't look bad doing that. He just looks like he's anticipating some action, you know? So not that big of a deal, but just be aware of that. He does have a seemingly decent arm articulation. So he can go out that far with his shoulder. So not a nice high swing with the arm, but he can do complete 360 here. And as you can hear, he does have a decent ratchet. It feels pretty good. And so there you go. Hands out to the side, looks cool. I dig the reflections on the face. The paint job on the face, that metallic paint that they use is really nice. As far as his hips go, he does have hip skirts on the sides, front, and I think on back. Yeah, on back as well. It's hard to see them here, but there you go. So you can, and I'm gonna take his swords off here. That's a nice little add-on that they gave you, is a little accessory bracket. So you can go ahead and put the swords on his back. Pretty cool. His legs. You can hear it. It's a tiny, tiny ratchet sound. But he does have a ratchet. And he can almost go full 90 front. And he can almost go full 90 back. As far as his knees go, he can bend to full 90. So that's cool. And his hips do splay out, but there's no ratchet in them. They're just tension fit. So he can do the splits. And apparently he can go beyond. He does have a bicep swivel, so that's cool. His elbows have a double joint, it looks like. So you can get it to go 90, and then you can also get it to go a little further than 90. So he can hold his gun in a nice position, or his sword. So some good articulation there. His fingers are all individually jointed. The thumb is on a ball joint, and the fingers are just, oh, they're on some kind of hinge at the palm too, so you can splay the fingers. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Wasn't really expecting that, but that's nice. Looks like he's going to be able to do some decent articulation with his hands. Some of the less than stellar parts about this guy are that these missiles come out of the holes fairly easily. It's like a 50-50. They fit in there well, but it doesn't take a whole lot to knock them out either. His pterodactyl claws, they are cool. They're individually movable, so you can go ahead and give him kind of an action-y kind of claw look. But these things also do just pop out. So be aware of that. You might lose a part. You might lose one of his pterodactyl hands, and that would not be cool. As far as die cast goes, I think this might be die cast, although it might be just plastic, painted really nicely. It doesn't feel metal, so never mind, not die cast. His feet are die cast. So this and the heel spur are all die cast. His claw foot is die cast. Not the claws themselves, but his claw foot is. One thing that I'm a little concerned about with his feet are that his feet are only connected with these small joints here. And let me see if I can give you a little better look from the back side. You can see that his feet are only hooked to his legs with that one plastic strut. That makes me a little bit nervous, because how sturdy is that going to be over time? And why you would do that to a part that is completely die cast, I'm not sure. And this is not die cast either. That little strut is not die cast. So it's not like you're die cast on die cast. It's plastic. That seems like they could have done a little bit better of a job there. Now, as far as the feet tilt go, oh, he does have some nice accents here on his foot. This nice black paint job with these blue stripes is really striking. Some of this paint work is not as finely detailed as I would like it to be. It looks like the paint app was a little thick, but overall it's really well done. So I really can't fault it too much. It's great to have all this molded detail. I really like that. But to his feet, his toe down goes quite far. His toe up, not quite so far. And his ankle tilt is not that great. So it has what, maybe a 2-degree ankle tilt. So not that much. But overall, he looks like he'll be pretty posable. A couple of quality issues that I found. So when he's in his bot mode, his chest is apart. When he has to be made into pterodactyl mode, his chest gets compressed together and the sides of his body get indented and they snap into place. So that lets his forearm get into his side there, and this little silver button on the front is supposed to be what releases it. So if I hit this silver button here, oop, it's not doing anything. So that's a little bit of a problem, that these buttons are supposed to be the releases, and they don't necessarily work like they're supposed to all the time. And okay, there we go. But the spring does feel to be pretty sturdy, so hopefully it won't be an issue in transforming it over its lifetime. And hopefully this guy will last for a while. But that was something that I found to be interesting as far as things not working necessarily as they're designed to. His head tilt is minor. He's got a slight head tilt up. He's on a ball joint, but doesn't give him the greatest mobility. It's like he needs to be on a little bit higher of a neck stock. But for his tough looks, I think that's some okay articulation. Not the best. One last thing about his bot mode, it's a little bit tricky to know where to pick him up from because, you know, his shoulders do collapse in for the alt mode. The chest does compress a little bit. Grabbing him around the midsection means that those panels can get pushed in a little bit. So, I mean, I guess I could try this. No, his arm just folded in. So the best way I've found to grab him is really front and back. So just a note there about handling. All right, let's see how he stands up to our MP scale standards. MP10, Optimus Prime, and MP21, Bumblebee. All right, now let me move him back a little bit so he's more in line with these guys. And Bumblebee 2. And there you go. I'll just say off the bat that I like the scale difference. I like the fact that a dinosaur is a little bit taller than Optimus Prime. And according to the Sunbow animation chart, Swoop should be a little shorter than Optimus Prime if you don't include the crest on his head and his rocket tips. So is Swoop MP scale? Technically, no. But I'll take this larger size as scale for my MP collection. He looks good. He's gonna look good on my shelf, and I am excited to have him. So I think he stands up. So here he is in bot mode, and he looks beautiful. I mean, he's gleaming and shiny and beautifully painted in either mode. Over time, I'll have to see how badly some of this metallic paint chips. I'd love to keep this, you know, gloss, metallic, semi-translucent kind of look it has. So if you know what can do that trick, let me know. There's very little kibble on this guy. He looks pretty clean front and back. Most of the detail is on his front, but they do some nice panel work on the bottom of the legs here, and the back is pretty clean. If you don't have the sword holder on the back, there's a peg hole there that you can see, but you know, that's part of being a toy. So I wish this guy had come with some of the blast effects. Those looked pretty cool. This doesn't seem to have any of those blast effects, but what do you want? So I can give this a solid recommend if you're looking for a Dinobot group to get, at least on the strength of Swoop so far. I haven't reviewed any of the other bots yet, but Gigapower puts out a nicely crafted version of Swoop. If you do go looking for one of these guys from Gigapower, it can be a little confusing, a little daunting to figure out which one you want because there are different versions of them. Swoop here has, as far as I can tell, 4 different versions. So there's the red metal, there's the blue metal, there's the red with chrome, and there's the blue with chrome. As far as I know, they haven't come out with a weathered version of him yet, but they are in the process of outputting other characters from this line in a weathered version as well. So there are multiple versions of these characters out there. Be aware of that, and know that the biggest differences are going to be one is chrome, one is metal, and then once they get all of them produced, there will be, I guess, all of them in a weathered version as well. As you can see, we have the accessories here. There you go. Now we've got the accessories, minus a cannon, which Swoop is holding at the moment. This version of Swoop comes with all of this stuff. We've seen the base before. It's got that cool Autobot shape there in the middle, which is pretty awesome. All right, so you have a couple of lights. They can be positioned around the platform. So these 6 holes will accept those lights. And you can give Swoop his own lighting on your shelf. It doesn't come with the battery, so you'll have to get those yourself. So you've got those 2 lights. You've got the secondary face and the secondary beak. You've got an additional neck. You've got the display stand, which is supposed to articulate and extend. This slides. It's pretty stiff to get it moving, as you can see. I actually took this whole thing apart trying to figure out why I couldn't get this to slide out. And it looks like there's grooves on the inside of this piece here that should have some kind of grease in them, and they don't. It's just dry plastic on plastic. So that coupled with screws that are a little bit over tight kept it from moving very well. Plus something was getting stuck up here around this hinge. Not sure what was catching. It also seems to be missing a return spring. This catches these notches here to hold it in position. So if you release it, and let's see, how do you do this? Yeah, okay, pull up and then push the button up. Now it's free to telescope without getting actually positioned. And so what that kind of says to me is that maybe there's supposed to be a spring there, so that when you push it up, it has some resistance and it automatically feeds back down when you slide this out. So this little piece was frustrating and is not going to be very useful or easily articulated without some of that grease. I'm not sure what kind of grease needs to go in there. If you happen to know what is safe for toys and for handling, let me know in the comments below. So it's got two types of mounts. I don't know which one is for which mode, but it's not a simple snap mount. It doesn't look like. It looks like you actually have to screw it in. So that's not exactly a quick change mount. That bothers me. I wish it was a quick change mount. You've got two cannons, one which is shown here, and there are two peg holes to hold it. So if you want your Swoop just to stand there and to have his accessories around him, you can just put the two cannons on the platform here. Now the platform does have two panels that pop out so that this display stand can go in there. I had quite a bit of trouble trying to fit these pegs into the slots, both for this part and for this part. I was able to do it, but it was with a little struggle and had to use quite a bit of force. Be careful. Last but not least, it's got a place for your two swords, so you can keep your sword holder on the swords as well if you'd like. And the swords go into those two diamond-shaped slots there. The swords are also going to light up, but you do have to put batteries into those. And again, batteries aren't listed anywhere on the box that I saw, nor in the instructions. Oh, and this piece, I have no idea what this is for. The detailing on it is really nice. It's got this peg here. I don't know what it's for. I can't put it together. I can't figure it out. It doesn't seem to open. I thought maybe this was a little slide open, but I think it's just a molded detail that happens to have a screw point in it. So if you figured out what this is for, or you've seen it elsewhere, let me know. I'd love to know. All right, that's it for his accessories. All right, so final thoughts here on Gigapower's Gigasuar Gaudenter, their version of Swoop in chrome and blue. This is the bot that I want on my shelf. He looks good. I really like his stylings. The aesthetic's just great. There are some things about him that I don't like so much, but overall, it's a good bot. And I'm gonna be happy to have it on my shelf. I wish it were a little bit more sturdy and stable, but as you can see here, you can put them in a cool pose. So that's not such a big deal. And also, this is not an official Takara Tomy Hasbro toy. It's not an official Transformer. So can you really hold a third-party company to the originator's standards? And even the originator standards sometimes aren't high enough. You know, considering the problems people have had with MP47 Hound. Some people had some issues with MP44 Optimus Prime. Historically, people have had problems with MP11 Starscream. So you got to remember, these are collectibles and they're not just toys. You don't just toss them in your toy closet. They are display pieces and they are collectibles. And this guy is fun. The mystery of those little shoulder clips aside, he's pretty easy to transform. Couple little things that I missed. His heel spur is articulated, so you can kick it down to give him a little bit more of a front tilt. And that's what I did here for this pose. So the one foot is flat, the other foot heel spur is up. So that let him stand up in this position. Another thing, his head tilt actually does have some better articulation down. If you want to give it a more extreme tilt down, you can. It just might look a little funny depending on the angle that you're trying to pose him at, but it does hinge forward because it does go straight into that beak too. So you do have a little bit more tilt down. All right, well that's it for this episode. I hope you found this interesting and or helpful with your collection as to what you might want to collect or what you don't want to collect. Either way, your collection is yours. Build it how you want it. And thank you viewers for viewing, and thank you subscribers for subscribing. You're making this channel what it is. And if you're a repeat viewer, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so that you get notified when the next video drops. All right. Thanks for warping with me through Transformers Time here on MixelPix Transformers Time Warp. I'm Mike, and until next time, happy collecting, everybody.